welcome back to the show. And I'm joined once again with Franco Prio, Fresh Aire Carpet Cleaning. How are you, Franco?
I'm very well, thank you, after a nice little extended vacation.
I know, always on holidays. Yes.
Hey, someone's got to do it.
But you came back and we're actually talking about associations. Now, you actually formed with a partner of yours. You actually formed an association, and we thought it would be interesting because a lot of people out there in business, and they'd like to form an organisation. Of course, there's challenges, there's benefits, and everything, and there's the startup phase. What made you decide for the carpet cleaning industry to form the association in the first place?
Well, at the time, I actually had a buying group going already. And,
right.
Kim Housen was the other chap that started this off with. He had an idea around a marketing group, and we got stuck in an airport down at Sydney Airport when the plane broke down coming back from a conference.
Another one of your holidays?
No, this was purely business. It was actually purely business. We were there for all of 3 days in total, I think, and 2 days of that was a conference.
Right.
The other day was the travelling to and fro. Well, it was meant to be until we got held up. But because we got stuck there, we sort of started talking. And, we'd now got to the point where we had training in the industry, which didn't exist before, and that's the reason for the conference there. We thought, well, you know what? The playing field's changing, and it's changing quite dramatically because now we had people who were actually becoming professionally trained,
yes,
and getting a qualification up and knowledge of, and a much larger skill set than ever really was before. And we wanted to be able to make sure that we could distinguish ourselves from just the run-of-the-mill.
Yeah.
I mean, this sounds really elitist, but the run-of-the-mill compared to the other ones who have spent the time and energy to try and improve themselves.
Yeah, like put a professionalism there, so people just didn't go out and, like someone like me might do, and hire the carpet cleaner from Bunnings for the weekend.
Yep.
And go, what a great job I'm doing.
And you think you are.
Yeah. But there's challenges that come up. What challenges did you come across in forming an organisation, or an association, I should say, in the first place? Was there legalities in that around doing something?
Well, we had to back then was the Department of Commerce, which is now DOSEP, Department of Consumer Employment and Protection. They actually have rules and regs that you've got to follow. We've got a constitution that we needed to lodge with them.
Right.
They are very helpful when it comes to that as well. They can give you a bit of a rundown of what needs to be done, and there are certain things that need to be in the constitution as to how the place is going to be run, everybody's role within the organisation as well. So it's there, the information is there, but the hardest part is getting it to the point where you can actually use it and submit it, and they're going to put it across the line and say, yes, okay, now you're allowed to go out and be an association.
Because your association, you didn't do this for money. This is a not-for-profit, isn't it?
It's got nothing to do about making money whatsoever. It really was about, because of the fact that there were those changes there, that we needed to recognise them, and the playing field was just so completely different once we made our changes that it brought the whole industry into a different level. So we need to be able to reflect that and be able to distinguish ourselves from the base.
Was it at that time when you first started, how long has the association been going for now?
18 years. We just had our AGM last weekend.
Wow.
It was our 18th AGM. So there you go.
Incredible. 18 years ago when you started forming the association and for the training, was that starting to come in because there was such a variety of carpets and materials that needed to be cleaned, and the skill sets needed to change?
That was the thing. It always existed. All those sorts of different those parameters were all there. We just weren't aware of them because no one was there to teach us what there was. What's the difference between fibre A compared to fibre B and fibre C?
Yep.
I go into a job, and it happened a couple of times. I went into a job, and I had one room there that had a particular carpet, and that had another carpet. They both had exactly the same thing that had been dropped on the carpet. This room here, straight out. No problems at all. Try the same thing in that room. No, it wasn't working. But why? I had no idea, but now that I understand that there's a difference between the fibre characteristics, the chemistry that's involved to be able to pull them out safely or more effectively, or both, I understood that there were differences and that there's going to be a huge difference in the marketplace between now what I used to be and what I was becoming.
So for starting your association, Did you find resistance from other carpet cleaners, or was there a bit of a, oh, good, something's coming at last?
Well, it was a bit of both
Right.
because there was a lot of guys that didn't want to do any sort of training. They were convinced that their machine was the almighty, all powerful.
I got the biggest.
Everything.
I got the biggest vacuum cleaner in the world.
I actually had one guy stand up and say that to me. He said, "I don't need training. My machine's the biggest and hottest and gnarliest thing that it'll do absolutely everything." It's like, we're so far from the truth, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I could literally do a better job with a small little portable machine from Bunnings than he was doing. But he thought his machine was able to do absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people that had that sort of way of thinking, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and it was really hard to try to convince them otherwise. Then on the flip side, the people that had done the training, their eyes were suddenly opened, and it was like they were really easy to sell the concept to.
Yeah.
So we started off with a fairly good amount of people. I think it was around about 20 odd guys straight off the cuff because they had been through that training process and understood what we were trying to do and were really keen to jump on board.
Right. Let's take a quick break and we're going to come back because there are people who aren't members, and I want to talk about some of the challenges that presents for the consumer as well as the people that may not be on board at the moment.
Yep.
We'll be right back. Hi, we are back here. We're talking to Franco from Fresh Aire Carpet Cleaning on the challenges of associations. And we talked a little bit 18 years ago when you were forming your association. Now, it is for carpet cleaning, and I just want to make a point. It's carpet cleaning. You clean tiles and grouts and seal them, and you do furniture, the leathers and the suede fabrics that are out there.
That's
as
right.
well.
Yeah, put it this way: if you've got anything to do with flooring, and upholstery in general, within the home and in the commercial sphere as well, there will be someone in the association that will be a specialist in that area. Actually refer to. Yes.
Interesting. You were just saying then there'll be somebody in the association. I think some of the challenges comes from, let's look at it from the consumer's point of view to start off with. And I'm using someone that's not in an association. So can you give us a bit of an idea what risk that puts us at and what, and if I use, maybe that one first.
And look, it's not to say that anybody in the association is not a valid member of the industry.
Yes.
There are people out there that don't want to be the association for whatever reason it is, and that's fine. But the problem is that how do you distinguish between someone who's had the training, is updating their skills regularly, and actually knows what they're talking about, not just trying to pull the wool over your eyes, so to speak.
And we've had a couple of them.
We've had a few of those,
and and talking wool, I think one was a wool carpet that the person didn't know what he was doing with it, and you had to fix that one.
Oh, how many do you want to go through? There's been quite a number of those. But look, a good example was just this weekend just gone by. I had a large commercial facility that had someone come in and they were doing the cheap job. They had what they thought were grease marks on the carpet, and every time this guy went anywhere near them, they got worse and worse and worse. So by the third time around, it was just like, you know what, you're not working. And this guy was losing money hand over fist because every time he goes back, you can't charge him because he's trying to fix up a problem
and he
actually had created.
Oh, really?
So the original mark that was there, they thought was grease, it wasn't grease. It was actually something else altogether, which comes out really easily.
Right.
But it was what he was leaving behind that's creating the issue. So he was like, oh, it's disappeared and it looks great. But then as it dried out, it came back again. So he went and repeated the process.
Goodness me.
And so
a bit like
trying to back again, it came back even bigger.
A bit like trying to paint over mould on your ceiling. It just doesn't work. It just keeps coming back.
It keeps coming back. But in this case, it was coming back worse and worse each time.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, the people at the facility thought it was grease because they had a workshop coming on into the office, and they thought they'd traipsed grease through the carpet. And so that's what they told me before I came in. And as soon as I spotted it, I took one look at it, I thought, I asked her for a wet tissue.
Right.
And literally it was just the same sort of stuff that you used to blow your nose with. So it's fragile. It's not exactly something that puts up with a lot of vegetation. It was moist, and I just wiped the spot. The mark disappeared because it was water soluble. It wasn't actually grease. Grease and water don't mix. So a wet tissue shouldn't have been able to lift that off. So I've just lifted it off with the tissue. The fish was as black as the carpet looked nice and clean.
Wow.
And I've sort of looked at him and said, it's not grease. And he's just looked at me and gone, really? You've spent all this time and effort trying to get this fixed up? Because the guy that was doing it had no idea what he was dealing with. He had a polypropylene carpet, which is extremely sensitive to detergent residues, bingo. He
Right.
wasn't dealing with a normal tufted carpet. He was dealing with a tile, which was vinyl back, so there's no moisture going anywhere. It's all just sitting there and pooling. So every time he put more onto it and then not extracting enough, he was just adding more and more to it. So the
Oh.
whole traffic area, because he kept on recleaning it, he was using detergent in his water rather than spraying it on and then rinsing off as well. So
Yeah.
that's another thing he was going wrong. It's just everything was multiplying its effect on itself.
Right.
And then I've come along and gone, it was as simple as that. Now, I had to charge a rectification cost, not just a cleaning cost.
Yeah.
My cleaning cost would have been higher anyway. That's irrespective. The fact is that even though it would have been higher, he would have got the job that he was looking for in the first place, or the company would have got the job they were looking for in the first place, rather than have all this toing and froing. And that's the difference between an association member and just someone of the general public. To be in the association, you have to have those qualifications. It's not just anybody that can join in. They can join in, but they've got a 12-month window to upgrade their training to a particular level that we require them to be at.
Yep.
And then after that, we actually do 4 training workshops per year, of which they are obliged to attend 2 of them each year.
So you're keeping up.
Yeah.
I think one thing you said there, when you're a member of an association, and we get it in film and photography, we were talking about this offline, you know, and I've got friends all over, and if I run into a problem, like we're using 2 cameras at the moment, and I shot a film one time with 2 cameras, and one looked different than the other, and I'm going, it's the same camera, same lens, same settings, and talking to somebody else just went, have you done this? Tweaked it, both back perfectly matched again. And I suppose the benefits of an association is that somebody can ring up. They're not isolated. I suppose when you're not a member, for people who aren't members, would isolation and be one of the issues that comes
Look,
up?
it's, most people are one-man operators.
Yes.
I was for quite a number of years. But when you're on your own, you've got no one to communicate with. And the only persons that you can normally talk to are retailers who are trying to sell you a product. Okay? So they're not necessarily always going to give you the best information. And I'm not saying they're giving you bad information.
But they're probably not your friend.
No, a lot of them are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything nasty about it.
No.
Most of our suppliers actually are really good, but they're trying to make a buck at the end of the day, and they're going to try and sell you product X when there might be something better out there.
Yeah.
And that's the difference of being in an association where you've got people to talk to. You can ask that question to a group of people with a vast range of experiences. Then someone might say, "Oh, hang on, have you tried this one? Same as you did with that.
Yeah.
You tweaked the camera. Have you tried this?"
Yeah.
As a one-person, one-man band, you just don't get that ability. Within an association, you do. You've got a network of people you can feed off.
For a consumer, so they're not a member of an association or the Carpet Cleaning Association, how can they assure themselves that, because there are, as you said, good people out there, how can they differentiate them between the good and the bad?
How can you differentiate? Look, if you haven't got an association membership, you might be able to prove that you've got a certificate or something like that, but how do you do that over the phone? Say, well, I am accredited to whichever body it is, and that's fine, they might have done their training, but as you as a person, when you're phoning up, how can you actually qualify that? An association member, for them to be advertised within the association, they have to have their full qualifications. So even our probationary members do not get advertised as being a member.
Right.
Okay, they can say that they're a provisional member, but there's only their personal name appears and not their company name. The idea being that if we're going to get an association member working on a carpet, we want to be confident that that person is going to be able to deliver the client's needs and not have an issue with it because they just haven't got the knowledge skill.
What about the argument that comes up for the carpet cleaners that say, yeah, but it's an association, they're expensive?
Well, our costs compared to the benefits are ridiculously cheap.
Yeah.
We for the amount that you save just in insurance discounts that we can get you and your chemical and equipment discounts, that throws the actual cost of the membership straight out the window. You've already exceeded the cost of the membership, so you're actually in a positive financial gain rather than a negative financial gain. And then if you want to start doing any further training, you get discounts on the training again. And just on one course alone, the discount you can get from the one course is more than a membership fee. So, yeah, just from that side alone, the argument
I had to throw in the curly question.
Oh, look, the argument of the membership goes straight out the window. We are probably one of the cheapest associations in Australia.
Yeah,
and that, across any industry at all.
And I think, as you said before, because you're not running it for profit, you're running it for knowledge.
Yeah, we're running it for the benefits for the members as well as clients.
Yeah.
Okay, because that way we can actually have people, get them to member and have the confidence that they're going to do the job properly.
Yeah.
And then the clients, the members themselves benefit because they've got that networking ability.
Yeah.
If they have an issue, then someone else can help them out with it. They can ask questions. Everybody wins. It's a really good way for the whole industry from the user point of view, as well as a supplier point of view, and a person within it. Everybody gets a benefit out of it.
Wonderful. Let's take a break there. I want to come back because the member benefits, I want to see the benefits to the consumer and also to the carpet people themselves, carpet cleaners themselves. We'll come back and chat about a few of them in a little bit more detail. The Carpet Cleaning Association, 18 years, just celebrated a birthday. We'll be right back. Hi and welcome back. I'm with Franco, the Fresh Air Carpet Cleaning and the Carpet Cleaning Association. That's what we're talking about today. And we've talked about you've been going for 18 years.
Yes.
And obviously it has to be governed by government regulations and everything. And we talk about some of the disadvantages or some of the challenges that can be around not being an association member. But once they become a member, you touched on a couple, but one thing that struck me, and you were telling me the story, the association members, you're competing, but because you all do slightly different things, you're actually also collaborating.
Oh, absolutely. Look, we call it being in friendly competition. I mean, everybody has their own pricing structure. Everybody's set up slightly different, so everybody runs their businesses independently. So we don't have a set rule saying you must comply, and you must be doing this, and you must be doing that.
Yeah.
There is an Australian standard. They're the rules that we need to follow. It's not what we say, it's what the Australian standard actually says we are supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So it's not just something that we've come up with and said, this is what we need to be doing. So we have that set rule to start with, straight off the bat. So to be able to have someone come in or a customer come along and get that member to do that, they know that's going to be to a standard.
Yeah. Is it difficult reading? I mean, I come from a building industry background, and I know the standards are always changing. It's like reading War and Peace, some of them. It's like, really? Who writes this stuff? Is it similar in the carpet industry? For the association, it's really disseminating that information so it's actually understandable?
Yeah, well, that's what the training side of it is all about. The trainers do it so that it is following the standard. Okay, so we can get people to understand the standard and what is expected of them when they're on the job.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just it's there. It's in black and white. You can't just say, "Well, I didn't know that," or "Someone didn't teach me that," because they're the rules we're all following.
Yeah.
Any trainer is going to be following the same set.
Interesting. We were saying about collaboration before. You have an interesting story that. And you're in the association, obviously, with everyone else. But your truck got knocked off the road, literally knocked off the road.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And people jumped in.
Yeah, well, I mean, my truck was out of action for 6 weeks. I had to wait for a specific part, which wasn't available in Australia. So 6 weeks later, it took the slow ship from Japan, apparently.
Yeah.
It almost got written off as a result of this one part because they really struggled to get it. But that left me in the lurch because my machine's bolted into the back of the truck.
Yeah. So
without a vehicle to transport it around, it's a bit hard to work.
Wow.
So I was like, well, what do I do? And I put the word out amongst the membership. So has anybody got anything that I might be able to see myself through with for the time being? And within an hour, I had 3 guys, 3 different people who had a spare, both vehicle and machines, all set up, ready to go. They had just updated their own vehicles, and so it was just sitting there, and they hadn't quite decided what to do with them yet.
Yeah.
And they just said, there you go, here's the keys, drive away. I thought, well, I had a selection, and
Wow.
that's a really great thing, having that sort of a backup. Whether it be just a simple scrubber or just needing a chemical urgently on a job, and that's actually happened where someone said, "Oh, I'm on a job, then something's happened. I've run out of this chemical," and if another member's going, "Well, I'm close by. I'll come around and drop some off for you."
Wow.
They're competitors,
Yeah.
absolute competitors out in the field. They'll be competing for the same job at whatever rate they're going for.
Yeah.
But they're in friendly competition, so we've got that backup network now, which is fantastic. Because once if you're working on your own, you're on your own.
You're on your own.
You're a lone island out there, and it gets to be a really lonely place. Having that backup is absolutely gold.
I could imagine the truck would have been a shocking one. 6 weeks without any income.
Well,
That's a shocker. And but even simple things like you said, like a scrubber, goes down. I mean, you don't carry around 2 or 3 scrubbers just in case one breaks down in your equipment.
No,
one breaks down, and someone can go, "Hey, you're in the association with us. We can get you another one." Chemicals is an interesting one because there's a couple of things there. You said they can either get it at discount rates, and people, you've given chemical to people in the past, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But this discount on chemical, how does that work for an association? Why is that happening for those members?
Why is it? Because we have suppliers that recognise that we are that little bit different, and they want to get our business, and they're quite willing, because of the fact that we are doing jobs the right way.
Yeah.
And we're using a lot more specialist stuff. They look at us and say, "Look, okay, you guys really support us. We're going to support you back," and they will give us, or they've negotiated some sort of a discount on whether it be just a product range or across a product range, whatever the case may be. But we do have some substantial savings to be made, and we also quite often, if there is a call for a particular item or a particular chemical, we go, "Okay, who else wants it?" And we do a bulk deal. And so that way, instead of buying 5 litres at a time, we'll be literally buying 5,000 litres at a time. And when you start doing that, you get that group purchasing power. Everybody benefits.
Everyone benefits. Everyone benefits. Is that why the insurance companies give your associate members discounts as well? Because you are doing the training and you.
It's not so much the numbers thing.
No,
it's the fact that we actually have got that training, and we are a lesser risk than the average company.
Which is the insurance company's dream.
Exactly. We're going to give them money and not claim.
Yeah.
Well, you've always got to have it there because there's something that can go wrong.
Yes.
Okay. Whether it be like we had an instance myself that there was a vase that got knocked over. Actually, not a vase. It was a light. And the owner decided not to chase it. He said, "Oh, look, don't worry about it." But in that sort of instance there, it was valuable. We would have made an insurance claim.
Yeah.
You bump things. That does happen. Accidents.
Exactly.
That's what insurance is for.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the general cleaning side of the equation, we're not going to damage the carpet. Okay, unless we do something incredibly stupid. Brain's just gone out for the day, and left our bodies behind to just do whatever it was doing. And so there might be a situation there, but that's just so rare that it's just not something that's going to be such a great consideration. And therefore, because of that, they recognise that and they drop the cost for us.
Wow. In summary, someone looking is in the carpet industry now, like maybe a carpet cleaner, or about to step in, there's a lot of redundancies, people's circumstances are going, "Look, I could spend 50, 80 grand and set myself up, I'll be in business."
Yeah.
Carpet cleaning's easy. I just run a scrubber over it.
That's how I started. That's exactly how I started. It's easy. Yeah.
How often do we all start things like that? How hard is it to become an association member? And what's it like? What steps do they go through?
Oh, look, it's quite easy. As long as you've got things like your insurances in place. Your public liability, obviously, you have to have that. Your personal insurance, your vehicle insurance, they've got to be in place. Okay. Beyond that, you need to have a police clearance. Once again, that goes without saying. So police clearance has to go through it. And after that, if you're new to the industry or you haven't had any training, you can become a provisional member, which is at a reduced cost. Okay, because you don't get the full benefits.
Right.
But you have a 12-month window to be able to upgrade your skills to become a full member. And after that, if you've made no effort, no attempt to make to have anything go forward as far as your career goes. And it's like, well, okay, you're not really what we want with
No.
the association either. So
Because you've got to put your name on it, haven't you, when they're out
that's
there?
right. Yeah. So if they're not really willing to follow through with it, then well, there's no point in being a member.
Right.
So that kind of goes by the wayside. But for anybody else, they get that 12-month window to be able to get their training or at least prove their knowledge. Okay, so we do a recognition of prior learning as well, an RTL as it's known.
Yeah.
So if they have had training in the past, well, that's great.
Fantastic.
Okay? But you still need to prove that you actually know it. Okay, I think I've said it once before.
Yeah.
I went to a course once where we had someone just sitting there asleep for the whole course.
Yeah.
What was he getting out of it? Not much.
No.
Okay, but he got the certificate of attendance. He was there.
Yeah.
In body, but the brain wasn't taking too much in.
Yeah.
So we need to know that they actually have those skills. We will look at through their vehicles, or we'll actually put them through a written and oral examination, and show that they actually know what they're talking about, not just that they say that they know what they're talking about, which is a very big difference.
It is a big difference. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. I want to have a summary. I want to know where this association is going. What's the future for it? It'd be absolutely brilliant. We'll be back real soon. Hi, welcome back with Franco and Fresh Air Carpet Cleaning and the Carpet Cleaning Association. I was going to come back and ask you where the association is going at the moment, and something occurred to me in the break. I was thinking, I wonder how many people say they're a member when they're not a member. Does that happen?
Unfortunately, that's been happening a lot recently. We've been having quite a number of, I've had a few property managers that have had an issue with a job that's been done, and they send me the information and say, is this person a member? And I'll say yes or no. And unfortunately, in 100% of cases, they've been no.
Wow.
People have been claiming to be members, which is a big no-no, because there are a lot of property managers now really wanting the people to have that qualification, proven qualification.
Yeah.
So if they're not a member of the association, they ask the thing up front because they know they'll be a trained, accredited person.
Yes.
And they say, yes, it's okay, well, we'll let you onto the carpets. But then people are saying it just to get the job, which is a big no-no. We kind of frown upon that. We're not really keen on that idea because there have been some really bad jobs done out there in our name.
Yeah.
Which really doesn't please us very much. And I've had a few private clients that have had the same sorts of issues.
Yeah.
Or they've been looking to put someone on, and this person has claimed to be a member, and then they phoned us before booking them, thankfully. And I've just looked at it and said, yes or no, they are a member, or they're not a member. In some cases of those, they have been members, but that's before the job's been done. But in some cases, and there's been quite a few cases, they haven't.
And I suppose that's one of the things, because I know the association's gaining its reputation, it's gaining its success, it's getting more members, more people are wanting to join it. That's what occurred to me. I thought, well, if something starts growing, starts getting a name, its brand, some people do try to latch onto it even when they're not.
Absolutely.
When they're not there.
There's not everybody on the planet is an honest operator.
No,
unfortunately. And look, and the other thing is that sometimes people are struggling, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And they'll say anything it takes to get the job. And then if something goes foul, it's like, oh, well, bad luck, and they just walk away from it, which unfortunately leaves the client in a huge lurch. Because now they've got an expensive problem that this person won't come back to, whereas if they're an association member and there was an issue, the association member comes back to the member and says, fix it.
Yeah, get it done
and
right.
if you can't fix it, we can fix whatever there is. And if there's a repeat offender, then it's okay. You haven't changed your ways. Thanks for that.
It's interesting because we're saying about the success of the organisation, 18 years into it now. So the association, what are the plans for it, Franco? Where do you plan it? What's happening to it at the moment? Where do you think it's going?
Well, we're in a bit of an expansion phase.
Yeah,
it has to be said, because of the fact that we are starting to get that bit of a market penetration. We've been actively going to a few different conferences around the place to introduce ourselves and say, hey, look, these are our points of difference.
Yeah.
So that people are aware, and more people are becoming aware that we are out there. So we're concentrating our marketing to get out there and get the name out there to as many people as we can, whether it be in the property management industry or even just the general public. We want people to recognise the logo and know that they can actually trust that logo. So if the person has got it, then they should be trustworthy unless they're using it illegally, which is happening as well. We've had to come down on a couple of people for that. But yeah, so going forward, we really want to increase our membership because once again, the more members that we have within, the greater we as an industry have or greater power that we have upon those others without the industry, or the peripherals of the industry that are our suppliers, for instance. We have that recognition. When in the insurance companies, they know that if there's going to be something going wrong, that we can actually go in and fix the problem, and that's not going to be an issue. So it's really about developing the strength of the industry and the members within the association, so that we can move forward and step the industry up to a higher professionalism, rather than at the moment, really anybody can get in, and pretty much anybody does get in. I see these ads for a whole house for $50. It costs me more than that, just my costs on the job. So how can you clean a house for that amount of money? It's just it doesn't make sense.
With the association, just to wrap it up, because as well as just a layman may be just thinking, well, it's just carpet cleaning, get all different carpets. But you do something really cool. You bring in these specialist courses. Now, recently you brought someone over, I think, from the States to teach recolouring.
Correct.
Is this one of the things the association also wants to develop, is specialist training? So someone who wants to specialise in certain areas, you'll get people in?
We are always open to any training body there is out there. We're very much about getting skill sets up, because the more you earn, the more you learn, the more you can earn.
Yes.
And that's what it really basically boils down to. And a lot of guys, they don't charge because they don't charge higher rates because they don't have the knowledge. They don't understand the business costs, number one. And number two, they don't have the confidence to go out in the marketplace and say, well, I can charge what I think I'm worth, rather than I've just got to charge what the other guy's charging or undercut him because I want the job. That's not what it's about. Business is about being profitable. Without profit, you don't stay in business.
Do you do business training with your association members, or
we do a little bit with it as well? Absolutely. I mean, a couple of training workshops we've had, we've gone through the costings. Number one, because unless you understand your business costs, you don't understand your business.
Exactly.
And you can set a price and you'll be losing money on it. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people are doing. I've
spoken to quite a few accountants that say that's part of the problem. People don't know the cost of sale to start off with.
So it's all very good. I've got $100 for that job. That's great. But if your costs were $90 and you were there for 2 hours, that's sort of set for failure.
How can people find out more about the association, whether they're a consumer, from a consumer's perspective, to get a better understanding, or for these new members, because I know you're getting an influx right now and people are saying this will be good. What's the best way?
Okay, well, you can jump onto our website. It's ccwa.com.au. We got a brand new website that just went live last week after a bit of a time. We did have another one before, but it needed an update. But now we've actually got the update that's happening. You'll have a lot of information in there about what we can do, what sorts of services that we provide across the board between all our members. Like I said, it's not an actual company, so we won't do quotes because everybody's pricing is different. It's just a case of there's a point of contact. You'll find that on there we will have each individual member, full member that is, has their own dedicated web page, and it can go through all their specialisations. Or you can just click on the little link at the bottom if you want to say spot treatments done. You click on the link and it just brings up all the guys at that specialisation.
Wow.
You've got someone that does, say, stone restoration.
Yes.
You can click on that link and it'll bring up all the people that do that specialisation. People that do colouring, click that link and up they come.
Oh, brilliant.
So you've got that reference point there. For anybody who wants to be a member, there's also an application form in there. It will give you the details of what you need to be able to supply and what you need to do to get yourself across the line as a full member. So all the information is contained on their website. It's also nicely mobile friendly, obviously. You have to have that these days. But that information is all within that area. It's also got the contacts for all the committee members, whether it be the secretary, the president, the treasurer, myself as the training officer. We're all listed in there as well, so you can contact us directly through email as well.
Fantastic. That website again, Franco?
It's ccwa.com.au.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, mate. That was great.
Fantastic. Thank you.